Um, Welcome, students. Today we are moving to lesson 5, where we are going to look at opinion paragraphs. In our last lesson, we looked at descriptive and process paragraphs. We saw how you can develop them. We saw how you can write them. We saw how you can do everything. So we are moving to the third type of a paragraph we call opinion paragraphs. So we are saying in this lesson, you will learn how to distinguish between fact and opinion. We shall also learn how to organize and write paragraphs expressing opinions and arguments. We shall also learn about how to use transition words to express causality. Lastly, we shall learn about use of modal expressions to make recommendations. So you can see what we are going to go through helps you to write opinion paragraphs. Meaning, if you don't follow what I have just mentioned, then what you will be writing may not be clear as to what type of writing, what type of a paragraph you are putting across. So let us understand what facts and opinions are. A fact is a piece of information that is true. Meaning, this is a statement that can be proven. Like if I say I'm black, no, I'm dark. This is a fact. We can prove this. You look at me and you see me, I'm dark. So this is a fact. It's not an opinion. For example, that film was 3 hours long. That film was 3 hours long. That is a fact, not an opinion, because we can prove. We can go and look at how long the film took, and we shall find it took 3 hours long. So that is a fact. What is an opinion? An opinion is an idea or belief about a particular subject. For example, if I say, that film was boring, you see, somebody else can say that film was average. Another person would say that film was okay. Another person would also say that film was fantastic. So, opinion is what you think or what you feel about a given subject or a given thing. And being different people from individual difference under psychology, we would have different perception, different observation, different thinking and attitude about the same thing. But this will depend on what angles, what platform are we looking at that point from. That will dictate our opinion about that person, that thing, that place, and what have you. So, an opinion is a statement that cannot be proven. If you say I'm good, even if you mention the facts, no, the supporting evidence as to how and why I'm good, you will find that another person who is also saying I'm good will have different evidence supporting his opinion as to why I'm good. So that's why we are saying an opinion is a statement that cannot be proven. Yes. So writers use facts to support their opinions and to show why they hold their beliefs. Like when you say, my country is poor, that is an opinion. But you have to support what you are saying by giving us statistical examples or researches that have been done by the Bureau of Statistics or even World Bank about your country. And now those are facts that are supporting your opinion. And therefore what we are saying is that when you are writing an opinion text, you need to gather facts that will support what you are saying. Otherwise, readers will be like, no, opinions are subject to biasness, to individual perception and attitude. So they cannot be relied on. They cannot be believed because they cannot make any basis unless they are supported by facts. Unless they are supported by facts. Let us move now to what we call modal auxiliaries. You are familiar with auxiliary verbs, what we call helping verbs, because whenever we are using main verbs without auxiliary verbs, you find they don't make acceptable, grammatically true sentence. Like I cannot say, Musa eating. I have to say Musa is eating. So eating being the main verb is helped by is to make sense. So when you speak, you introduce opinions with phrases like, you see, when you stand before people and you are saying, I think that John is a good man. Or you say, in my opinion, Mary is a good girl. Or you say, I believe what Peter is saying is true. So you see, these are words that we use or phrases we use to introduce an opinion. And therefore they serve as modal auxiliaries. We use them to introduce an opinion. Therefore, when somebody is speaking, you just look at the words or phrases he's using to introduce what he's saying, and you can be able to say and tell that that is an opinion or that is a fact. So in general, these introductory phrases are not needed in writing. We need them when we are speaking verbally, but we don't really need them when we are writing. Let me remind you, students, you remember when I was teaching you in communicative grammar, I told you that we can contract some words. Like if I say, I will not come, that is expanded. I can say, I won't come. You see, I'm contracted. But when do we use the two? You remember I was telling you that in writing, we use I will not come. But in spoken, while speaking, you can say I won't come. I won't come. So we're saying they can even make you sound less sure of your ideas. Like when you say, I think Muhammad is good, you are not sure unless you give us facts to support what you're saying. From just the way you are saying, I think he's a good man, we can be able to tell you are not sure, you're just thinking. Instead, writers use grammatical methods such as modular auxiliary verbs and translation words to express their opinion. That's transition words to express their opinion. Modular auxiliary verbs show the strength of a writer's opinion or argument. Yes, this is a very important statement, that they show the strength of the writer's opinion. You see, when you are arguing, when you are giving your opinion, we look at the types of words or phrases you use, and we can be able to see how serious you mean or how not serious you mean. Let me give you an example. If I find you seated on my chair and I tell you, you may stand, you may stand, you see, you can continue sitting. You can continue sitting because my opinion is weak. May, or you shall do this, or you could go home. You see, you can go on sitting. But if I tell you, you must go home, or I tell you, you ought to go home, then immediately you will stand. So that's why when you are writing an opinion text, because here you are trying to convince the readers to agree with you, and therefore the modular auxiliary verbs that you choose to use, they will show how strong your opinion is. That's what we are looking at here. So please get inside and let us get the nitty-gritty of everything that will help us when we are writing or even when we are speaking, because you see, you can write and read, you can write and speak to people. But the way you do it will show people if they have to do what you want them to do or if they have an option. So let us look at the following sentence, the following. Affirmative, when you are just telling people positively to do something, or when you are telling, yes, affirmative, yeah, positive. Like I can give this sentence. Parents could instill discipline in their children. I've used could. Now, if I'm talking to parents, they may not take me serious. There are those who may want, who would do it, others may not do it because I said you could. Or if I say parents should instill discipline in their children, it's a bit stronger than could. Should is a bit stronger than could, but both are still weak. But when I tell parents that parents ought to instill discipline in their children, it's very strong. Or if I say parents have to instill discipline in their children, or if I say parents must instill discipline in their children, then they will take me serious when I'm using ought, have to, or must. But if I'm using could or should, there are those who will take me serious, there are those who will not take me serious. So when you are giving your opinion, it will depend on how you use these modular auxiliary verbs. So you move from weakest to strongest. That's what you have seen. When you move from could, should, ought, have to, or has to must, you are moving from weak to strongest. Weakest to strongest. Let us look at negative because the examples I've given above are affirmative. Negative. I can say parents doesn't have to instill discipline. No, parents don't have to instill discipline in their children. Or parents shouldn't. or parents can't, or parents mustn't instill discipline in their children is also from weakest to strongest. Now, when we are presenting an opinion paragraph, we are looking at causes and effects. What do I mean? Take, for example, I'm talking about youth unemployment. Then we have factors that are causing youth unemployment. And now, when we have youth unemployment, what would be the consequence or the result? That's the effect. There are so many effects that come up because of youth unemployment. So when you are writing an opinion text, there will always be connection between the cause and the effect. So we want to look at connectors, those that will connect the cause and the effect, meaning the connectors, the conjunctions that will join, will connect causes and effects. That is independent variables and dependent variables. Because here, independent variables are the causes and dependent variables are the effects. So what am I saying about connectors of cause and effect? I'm saying this. We want to look how to use connectors of cause and effect for expressing opinion. So we have these three connectors. We have because, we have since, and we have so. So there are three. They are connectors of cause and effect. They join two ideas when one idea causes or explains the other. Because, since, and so. But my friends, the connector since has two meanings. It has the meaning of as a result or because of, and it also have the meaning of from the time. You know, when I say since you came to this class, you have really improved. It doesn't mean I'm saying because you came to this class, you have improved. I'm just saying from the time you came to this class, you have improved your English. You have the command. You may not speak with the diction, with the accent of the native speakers, but you have the English. So, because and since, they introduce the cause or reason. So, and therefore, introduce the effect or result. So, in an opinion text, where we have the causes and effects, whenever you are introducing causes, make sure you are using because or since. And we have others. But for our lesson, we are looking at because and since. They introduce the causes. But now, when you are introducing the effects, you have to use so, therefore, to do that, because effect is the result. Now, there is cause or reason. What's the cause of this? What's the reason for this? Yeah. So you can say this. Petrol is becoming scarce and expensive. You see, petrol is becoming scarce and expensive. See, this is a fact. This is an independent variable. We can verify it. We can confirm, we can prove it. Now let us come to effect or result. Then you say, we should develop electric cars. So the result, the solution, or the effect of petrol becoming scarce and expensive would be that mechanical engineers or scientists are likely to develop electric cars. So what are we saying? Let us now look at it this way. Example number 1. Because petrol is becoming scarce and expensive, we should develop electric cars. Number 2, we should develop electric cars since petrol is becoming scarce and expensive. Now, sentence 1, we are starting with the cause and ending with the effect. Sorry. We are starting with the cause and ending with the effect. But in number 2, we are starting with the effect and ending with the cause. Number 3, petrol is becoming scarce and expensive. Full stop. Therefore, we should develop electric cars. So what I want you to notice in these 3 statements, when you are using since, that is introducing, is coming at the end of the sentence, since must be preceded by a comma. And whenever you are using therefore, therefore must come after full stop and a comma before you add any other statement. Therefore, I'm saying that, you know what I'm saying? Therefore, I'm saying that, but now I want to use the word therefore. So I'm saying, therefore is slightly different. It joins the ideas in 2 sentences. So when we talk about 2 sentences, these are independent sentences separated by a full stop. And that is where we use therefore. For example, petrol is becoming scarce and expensive, full stop. Therefore, comma, we should develop electric cars. Now let us move to punctuation note about the connectors I have mentioned above. I'm saying, when because or since begin a sentence, use a comma after the first part of the sentence. That's the cause. Because the first part of the sentence is the cause. What would be the first clause? Then the second clause is the effect or result clause. So we are being told that if you are going to start, that is when because or since begin a sentence, use a comma after the first part, meaning to separate the 2 clauses. I'm also saying that when the effect or result comes first, don't use comma before because and since. Meaning, if you start your sentence with effect or result, where we see inside because or since, it must not, don't use comma before the 2. Don't. But you see, if you are starting with because or since, yeah, starting the sentence with the cause, then when you say because this and that, you separate the 2 clauses with a comma. Number 3, I'm saying that a result or effect beginning with the so is usually the second part of a sentence. Use a comma before so. So we are being told here that you cannot start a sentence with the so as a connector. It always comes as part of the second part of the whole sentence. So is part of the effect. And you cannot start a sentence with so because it's tied to the effect and it cannot start a sentence per se. So what am I saying here? Use therefore after a full stop. Use therefore after a full stop. Use a comma after therefore. Whenever you use therefore, make sure immediately after it, use a comma. So today, we have been privileged to look at opinion paragraphs. And most of the time, we write opinion texts. We do that. But when you obey, when you follow, when you abide by these rules that I've given you today, you have to be in a good position to write a very strong, convincing, communicative opinion paragraph. And therefore, your readers will be able to outrightly say that your text is an opinion text or an opinion paragraph. So I have come to the end of this lesson for today. Thank you and thank you very much. God bless you and continue following me on this journey as I share with you the knowledge I have about this good language, English. So welcome and be blessed. Bye-bye. Have a good time. See you.